Hi guys, it's Ava. I'm making the video that everyone and their mom has done. This year has been a lot, to say the least. So I thought that I would just, spend money on books to make myself feel better. This is the books that I bought. This is my pandemic book haul, and none of the books have anything to do with pandemics. Sorry if that's why you are here, but it is actually the books that I bought while I was in the pandemic. Pandemic isn't over. Please stay home, please socially distance, please wear a mask if you must go outside. We all want this to be over, and it won't be if we don't follow the rules. Cool. So my semester is starting in a few days, actually next Monday, and I'm very excited for it. So obviously I had to pick up a few books for it. Thankfully, I didn't have to buy a textbook for any of my classes this semester, which I am very grateful for because they're expensive. But I did have to buy a few things. The one course I need books for this semester is my English course, and it is a Shakespeare course. So the first book that I bought for it was Galatea by John Lilly, and I don't know what this is about. I'm honestly not excited to read it that much, but it's there, so that's it. And this is the Rebel Student Edition. This is the one that they asked us to get, and it was also the one that was the cheapest, so I got it. It's also very shiny. Look at that. Jeez. Next, we have The Roaring Girl by Thomas Dekker and Thomas Middleton. I bought the Oxford World Classics edition because that one was the cheapest I could find. So it also does have some other ones in here. It's like a little anthology, but I will only be reading The Roaring Girl in this one. And next we have this bad boy. Here it is. This is the Norton Shakespeare, the 3rd edition. It's very heavy. It's collected works of Shakespeare, and this is the one that they demanded that we get. We didn't really have a choice. If I had had a choice, I would have gotten them all individually, but I couldn't. So this is the one. As you can see, I'm already deep into it. We're not reading the whole thing, don't worry. Let's stay in the Shakespeare area because before the summer I thought I would catch up on some Shakespeare before we had to study him. So I bought a few of the Oxford Shakespeare World Classics editions, and I'll just quickly go through them. I'm not gonna tell you too much about what they're about. First one is King Lear. Next one is Hamlet. Next we have The Merchant of Venice. I have no idea what this is about, I'm gonna be honest with you. Next up we have Romeo and Juliet. Last but not least we have Othello. The last of the Oxford World Classics that I got while I was in this pandemic is Nothing at Abbey, Lady Susan, The Watsons, and Sedition, all by Jane Austen. This was left in like a book swap thing for our accommodation, and I just grabbed it because I figured maybe I could actually read some Austen. I'm excited to read that. Alright, let's stick with the classics, shall we? Next up, again from the book swap, I got Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, which I haven't read, but I probably should. And also from the book thing, I got the Penguin Book of English Verse. This might be something that I need to use for my degree later on, but also maybe it would just be kind of fun to have, I guess. It's not really my style of thing, but it seemed very convenient considering I'm studying for an English degree. Another free book I got, again from the same place, is Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut. Again, a thing I haven't read but really want to, so I never say no to a free book. Right. 3 mini books that I bought for fun were Howl and Other Poems by Allen Ginsberg, We Should All Be Feminists by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and No One Is Too Small to Make a Difference by Greta Thunberg. All these 3 I got used, and they have been super fun reads. I haven't read Howl yet. I really should. I love Howl, like the performance of it, but I really want to read it. These 3, super cool. I got 2 non-fiction books. The first one is The Motorcycle Diaries by Ernesto Che Guevara, and I am very excited for this. I am more than halfway through. I'm almost done with it, and I have been since before June, but I didn't take it home with me over the summer, which is why I haven't finished it. It's so good. It's genuinely so good. It's such an interesting take, and it basically shows why Ernesto Che Guevara became a communist. Next up we have Men We Reaped by Jesmyn Ward. This is something that I'm really excited to read. I've heard so many good things about it, and I can't wait to dive into it. It's gonna be great. Again, a free book that I also found was On the Come Up by Angie Thomas, which was wonderful. I have not read it, but it's really wonderful that I now have it to read, and I'm excited. I really enjoyed The Hate You Give, so for more books. I also realized I haven't told you what any of these books are about, but I genuinely don't really know, so it's just me listing books. I hope you're enjoying that. Next one, we have one that I can actually talk about and rave about, and it is Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This is the Bloomsbury Modern Classic Edition, which is beautiful, and I want so many of these. The spines, ugh, adorable. This follows Patroclus and Achilles on their journey in the Trojan War and before then, and it is poetic and beautiful and just incredible overall, and I cannot recommend this absolutely 100% enough. If you are even the slightest bit interested in Greek mythology, and even if you aren't, I would pick this up immediately. Next up, we have a thing outside of my comfort zone a little bit, which is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. I've watched the film, which is why I think I'm more prone to it, I guess, or like more not scared of it, but I really want to read it. I genuinely don't really like mystery or thriller or whatever they want to call this. I loved the film. I think the film is brilliant, and I want to read the book that inspired it. Alright, and next up we have Beloved by Toni Morrison. Yet another book that I should have read but have not. Can't wait to read it. Second to last, we have Orlando by Virginia Woolf. These are the Vintage Classics editions. I think these are the Virginia Woolf Vintage Classic editions. I love Virginia Woolf. I think Virginia Woolf is brilliant. I started with The Waves and I shouldn't have, and I realize that now. So now I'm just trying to get back into some Virginia Woolf, and Orlando is on the top of my TBR, to be honest. And last but not least, we have Cemetery Boys by Aidan Thomas. Cemetery Boys, just phenomenal. Like, I am halfway through by now, I think. I'm loving it. So Cemetery Boys is about Yatriel, who is a trans boy who is in a family of, like, it's like a Latinx, like, spiritual community where they can commune with the dead, but he accidentally, when trying to prove his worth in the family, he accidentally summons the wrong spirit and is now stuck with that spirit until he's able to let him go. Phenomenal. Pick it up, please. It's so important and I love it so much. Hi guys, I just realized that I hadn't actually talked about all the books at all because I have a bunch of ebooks that I also wanted to talk about and some arcs, so I'm just gonna do that now. This is the next day. I'm currently editing. You're probably gonna see this later today, so hope you all are good. Stay safe out there, all that shit. Let's talk a little bit about it. The first ebook that I want to talk about is The Devil All the Time by Donna Ray Pollock. I bought this because I wanted to read it before the Netflix film came out, and then I completely forgot everything about it, and now the Netflix film is actually out and I haven't read the book still, so it's very high on my TBR. I'm going to be reading it very, very soon. So yes, I have no idea honestly what it's about except for the fact that it's a horror film, not a horror film, a horror book, and it's like more of like maybe like a psychological thriller, like small town priest and Christianity thing, and I'm kind of excited about it. So next up we have Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reed. I bought this to participate in the group book for the, what's it called, the readathon thing, the Reading Rush, and I didn't read it during that week, but I did read it in August, I think, and I will leave the wrap up that I talk about it in the description below so that you can hear all my opinions on it. Spoiler alert, I loved it. So next we have A Girl, Woman, Other by Bernardine Evaristo. This is a thing that I'm currently still reading, which is kind of embarrassing because I have been reading it since June, but it's just not really clicking with me. I love the book, I love the concept, but it's more so the slow pacing. So unfortunately not for me, but I'm set on finishing it. Next we have The Bride Test by Helen Huang. I read the Kiss Quotient and I fell in love and I cannot wait to read this. The Kiss Quotient was amazing and the next one can only be as good or better. Next up, by God, we have The Twilight Saga by Stephanie Meyer, all 4 books. I still haven't gotten around to buying Midnight Sun yet. It's a bit of a thing for me, I think, but yeah, I have all of those on my Kindle and it's very exciting. Then we have The End of Policing by Alex S. Vitale. I got this for free from a very cool activist book shop that I will link down below, and they had an offer during June where you could get this for free to understand why we should be abolishing the police, and it is a very, very good read. I'm still getting through it because it is kind of a hard book to read, so I would highly recommend it. And the last of the ebooks that I bought myself is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, and when I said bought myself, that's actually wrong because I got this for free through Project Gutenberg. It is a service I highly recommend for anyone who wants to read books without copyright. It's usually the older classics that do that, so You can find Jane Austen on there at least, and I'm actually excited to read it. Next are just some e-arcs that I got through NetGalley, and I'll just quickly run you through them. I have not read all of them, and I most definitely cannot tell you what all of them are about, but here we go. I have The Peculiar Fate of Holly Banks by Julie Valerie, which I am currently reading. I read the first book and I liked it. This one is not as good as the first one, but there will be a full review on my Goodreads very, very soon. And The Peculiar Fate of Holly Banks will be released on the 24th of November 2020. One More for Christmas by Sarah Morgan is the next one that I have received. This is something I'm really excited for because I really want to get into reading some Christmas books soon, because while it is still September, you know how this year has gone super fast. So One More for Christmas by Sarah Morgan is released on October 22nd, 2020. Alright, that was it. I realized that I, again, didn't really tell you a lot about what the books are about, but honestly, I don't know, and I'm not gonna want to know probably, because that's not the way I read. I usually want to go in practically as blind as possible. But nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next week. Bye.